What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt Taville with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren. Daniel Dubois, get this. Frank Warren reveals what Daniel Dubois told him when he looked him in his eyes and asked him, do you want to continue to be a prize fighter? And this is what he had to say. He said he's got to want it. I've had this conversation, by the way. I've looked him in the eye and I said to him, we're moving on now. Whatever's going to be is going to be regarding the appeal. But in a lot of people's eyes, they don't fancy you as the real deal. Okay? Every fight you have now, you've got to grit your teeth and get it. The promoter confirmed that Dubois gave him the right answer, but the proof would need to come inside the ropes. He also said with this, he said he wants it, but you've got to do it in the ring, haven't you? It's no good telling me. And those are the words of Frank Warren, and let me counterpunch. I heard Frank on Talk Sports yesterday, and he said this verbatim. That was his words. And he was also talking about Daniel Dubois, speaking of momentum, okay? He claimed he lost his momentum after he did hit Alexander Usyk with a legal body shot, and he lost momentum after that, after he didn't count or whatever. And he said his momentum was gone. And let me counterpunch. Your momentum doesn't mean or doesn't dictate your heart. Just because you lose momentum don't mean you stop trying. Because based on what he said, like, hey, my momentum was gone, does that mean you just didn't really have the flair to fight anymore? You know, so if that's the case, we could imply that you just gave up from that punch. Now, Frank tried to dress it up all he wanted to, you know, the best he could, being the promoter of Daniel Dubois. Like, he lost his momentum. That was a good punch from the jab. And I'm like, dude, it's a fucking jab. It's a jab. It was a jab to his face, and that man did not take that punch at all. So, you know, that fight wasn't really ideal for both fighters, especially based on the fifth round. But, you know, I don't think that was Usyk's fault. But what's fault is Daniel Dubois. That's why Frank Warren had to look him like, dude, are you the real deal or what are you doing? You know what I mean? What are you doing? You got to have to show me now, because you're simply telling us that you want this, but then you're showing us that you don't want this. You know, I never heard Frank Warren have to cover up or patch up something this bad before regarding a fighter. Okay? And I think Frank is also looking kind of crazy because he put all of his energy and all his effort, you know, and the pull and the strings that he had to, you know, the snatch to get Daniel Dubois where he is today, or where he was yesterday, rather, you know, a couple weeks ago now. But, you know, that's a good question you asked Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois has to want it. Psychologically, he has to be there, you know, and him saying that I lost my momentum, that's not enough. That's not convincing to anybody. In fact, that's showing us that, you know, you can't deal with adversity. Neither are you willing to go through adversity. You would rather quit when the tough parts were there, when Alexander Usyk did get angry. Because, see, what people don't understand about that fight, he pissed Usyk off. You've seen Usyk kind of bad because he'll kind of look at you crazy when you do something like that wasn't kosher. But in this case, he got dropped like that. Usyk wanted to hurt Daniel Dubois, bro. He wanted to hurt him. And a lot of people don't understand that. And Daniel felt these punches that were coming together, but none of those punches appeared like the shots that Usyk landed on Joshua. Joshua was eating him. Bop, 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 bop. Shit. Daniel Dubois got out on the ground. The first knockdown, he ducked down. The second knockdown, he took a knee. I mean, no, he did this dive deal like he was jumping into a fucking pool. So, yes, with Frank Warren is putting his everything on the line for Daniel Dubois. You know, and Daniel Dubois has to show that he is what he says he is. You know what I mean? And stop. And I think the best thing to do is stop really bitching about the fifth round and really start taking accountability for the eighth round knockout or knockdown and the ninth round stoppage. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Frank Warren stating that Daniel Dubois confirmed that he's willing to fight, but he has to show him. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!